Welcome back to Capital Connections. I'm your host, John O'Connor. Let's now rejoin the Claremont area community at River Valley Community College, where Hillary Clinton, a Democrat candidate for president, will address the issue of global warming.
Do you think the Republican candidates are marginalizing 50% of their potential voters by continuing to deny that there is evidence of a threat to our world's climate?
I do. That's a very thoughtful question. I do. I think not only are they marginalizing half the Republican voters, they are endangering the lives of future generations here in the United States and around the world. When one of them, as they all seem to do, answers a question about climate change saying, "I'm not a scientist." Well, I'm not a surgeon. I'm not an expert in a lot of things. That's why I try to educate myself and listen to people who do the work. And they should start listening to people who are scientists and who understand what's happening in the climate. And I have outlined, and if you go to my website, hillaryclinton.com, you can see the video we put up that is an affirmative agenda for dealing with climate change in a way that I believe will create millions of new jobs and businesses. Now, how could that be? You have every reason to ask, right? Well, I will tell you, because we have the opportunity to become the clean energy superpower of the 21st century. What does that mean? That means taking our technology, our innovativeness, our entrepreneurial spirit, and putting it to work in the fight against climate change in a way that will build a clean energy system. And when you think about everything we have to do to reach that goal, there are a lot of jobs and there are a lot of businesses that are out there and waiting to be formed to do just that. You know, I was in Iowa a few weeks ago and I was talking about renewable energy. Iowa already gets 30% of their energy from wind. And they are moving on advanced biofuels and on solar. When I was at Exeter High School yesterday, I drove by the football field and I saw a bunch of solar panels. So I said to the principal, "What are those solar panels?" He goes, "Well, we like to, give back to our community. So we generate energy, which we use here at the school because it's so much lower cost once the initial investment is recovered, and then we give it back to the grid for the rest of the community to use." So I think we are on the brink of such a great breakthrough when it comes to renewable energy. I've set two goals. By the end of my first term, I want us to have installed 500 million, 500 million new solar panels. And I want, by the end of my second term, for us to be on the path. I like to think big and visionary. For us to be on the path to having enough renewable energy, clean energy, to power every home in America. Now, people who say to me, "Well, that's really ambitious, that's really bold." Well, it is, but I wouldn't be advocating it if I didn't believe we could do it. America is at our best when we make these big investments and when we dream big. I remember President Kennedy saying we're going to go to the moon in a decade. A lot of people didn't believe that, and we got there in less than a decade because people took it as the challenge it was. So different parts of the country would be approaching how we get to clean, renewable energy, enough to power every home, in different ways. But there's no doubt in my mind that if we have a national goal and we change the incentives, instead of us having tax benefits for fossil fuels, that we should be trying to slowly but surely eliminate, we would change and have more tax benefits for businesses, entrepreneurs, and others on the clean, renewable side. You know, one of the things we've got to do in Washington is get more predictable in a good way. You know, There's something called a production tax credit, which has helped Iowa and other states of our country do more on wind, but you never know whether it's going to last another year. So how do you make plans for that? How do you make investments? How do you hire people? Let's just make a decision. We're going to be the clean energy superpower, because if we don't, I'll tell you what, China, Germany, or somebody else will. They will take technology we invent, and they will put their people to work. They will have the export market, and we will be behind them. I don't want that to happen. I want us to be number one in the world in clean, renewable energy.
When we come back, we'll hear from the presidential candidate as she talks about the need for workplace equality. But let's now listen to some messages from the businesses that support Capital Connection. And why don't you let them know you appreciate that support?